We started redoing our bathroom last year around the same time we started doing our downstairs bathroom. This one got put on hold. I don't like the ceiling, and it looks like it must have been wallpaper. I don't know if you can see, like right there, there's bubbles. So I'm thinking they put wallpaper on the ceiling at one point. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to take that down. I started removing the border. The border that was over the bathtub came off easy. The border that was over the sink came off easy. But these walls, I don't know, they must have used a different kind of a glue. I used a steamer and I scraped and scraped and scraped using the steamer. And I couldn't get this border off. I'm thinking I'm going to have to do a skim coat on here on this wall. And sorry if I'm making you dizzy. On this wall as well. Downstairs, Sean jacked the floor up to make the floors more level, which ended up causing a little crack here. I've already filled it with mud right there. And then there's an area in the laundry room that I filled with mud as well. And you can see how I had to scrape and scrape and scrape with the steamer to try and get that. He must have used two different kinds of glue. See, on the east-west walls, the paper came off, but the north-south walls, this stuff's like glued on with permanent glue. Now, I'm going to show you the bathtub, and you're going to see why we're remodeling this bathroom. This house is 1970. It's the original tile and avocado green bathtub. Sean's already replaced the toilet. The toilet was the same color. And see our wonderful 1970 linoleum? The cabinet, we're not replacing anything. If you go shopping for new bathroom cabinets, they're pretty much made with particle board nowadays. And this is solid, and there's nothing wrong with it. We live in a farmhouse, and we live on a well, so you do get rust stains. And Sean did an experiment and took some New Finish Scratch Doctor, and he was able to easily remove the rust stains. So I'm going to try and give this a little facelift. But what's strange about this sink top is from the corner here to here, it came out quite a bit. So you can get my fingers in there. I'm hoping all we have to do is just shove it back and it'll be fine, but I'm not going to do any shoving and break pipes. So we might replace this, or we might just give it a facelift. I like these mirrors, but there's no cabinet in them. So Sean and I are going to build a box and make a mirror cabinet, but we're going to put it on drawer glides so that the mirror will open like this, because this is real wood. And if we had it on a hinge where it opened like that, that would just put way too much stress on the hinges. So we're going to make 2 cabinets out of this. We got some free wood off of Facebook Marketplace. Gentleman had, let me move so the toilet's not in the view. Gentleman had stained and polyed a whole bunch of wood that he was going to use as an accent wall, and changed his mind. So we got all of it for free. So we're going to make a cabinet for here. Definitely want some different lights because these are very dark in here. But what my project is, so I've been going on about the bathroom, I'm going to start working in here. Under the window, over here, and over here were these wire shelves, and I didn't like them. These just don't look nice. I prefer a rolling cart. We got this off of Facebook Marketplace for $20. I'd rather store everything I need in the laundry room on that instead of on this. So I've gone through and I've filled the holes. There used to be a rod that went from here to here that you could hang shirts on, but it was just a pressure. So if you put too much stuff on it, it would fall. And we had a couple of switches over here that we didn't need anymore. So Sean's filled those in with, I always keep these scraps whenever we're working on electric and we're putting in a new outlet box. I always keep everything that we cut out of the wall in case we needed to patch something. And it turns out we needed a couple of those for over here. So now today I'm going to wet sand. I'm not dry sanding. I don't want that dust all over the house. I just don't like it. I'm going to use this and I'm going to get it wet and do a wet sponge. And then after I'm done sanding everything, I'm going to go through and remove the baseboards. This is where one of the hot water boiler radiators were. We removed that in one of the videos. So I'm going to go through and remove the baseboard, and I'm going to paint with this bargain paint that we got from Menards for $9. I'm hoping it's a nice light gray. I'm hoping it doesn't dry dark. You know, I don't want it this dark, so hopefully it'll be nice and light. So that's my project today. Put it on kind of thick here, so it's taking some extra sanding. I'm not too fussed about how perfect this looks because it is just a laundry room after all. But I want it to look somewhat nice. So I'm going to pay attention to this extra thick edge here and see if I can smooth that down. I'm doing wet sponging for this since it's such a small area. It's going to make less dust. This is an old sponge. I've used it many times. Should go downstairs into the basement and get a newer one that's got a little bit more grit to it. There we go. There we go. I got an edge that is doing the trick now. And then just run your hand over it, and that way you can tell if you've got the edges pretty smooth. And let me tell you, when you paint, that seems to take care of a lot of the flaws. You definitely want to prime over drywall mud, which is what this is. We've got the kind of drywall mud that you can mix yourself, which for small projects like this works really good because you just mix what you need. But we also had some of this, and I love it because it's made. But it's sheetrock +3 joint compound. For drywall and plaster patch and repairs up to 25% less weight. This is nice. And it is 3.5 quarts. So it's not quite a gallon anymore. I have no idea what kind of paint this is. I don't know if it's oil or if it's water-based. So I'm definitely going to prime over all of this. And we're also using, it's an odor control. I'll show you what it is. I was going to mention, I rinsed out my sponge, rinsed the mud out of it. You don't want to do that in your bathroom sinks or in your kitchen sinks. This mud or any kind of drywall mud that you use will plug up your drains. So you want to do that outside with a hose. Now we got this Zinsser odor killing primer. Says kills existing odors from pets, urine, tobacco, and fire. Great for wood, subfloors, cabinets, walls, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Applies white, dries clear. Top coat with any clear finish or paint. Dries in 45 minutes. It's low odor. Reason why we got this. When we had the new furnace put in, the furnace guy, when he was putting ducts up in the attic, he said he kind of smelled something ammonia-y. He was thinking it might have been mice. Sean has a 5-gallon bucket mousetrap up in the attic, and it's been there ever since our furnace was put in. So that was the day after Easter they started, and it took them 2.5 weeks to put in the furnace. So we're talking end of May. He put the mouse bucket up in the attic. I'll have to show you the next time we get it down, but it's a 5-gallon bucket that's got a teetering platform on it. And we use cornmeal and baking soda as our bait. We put it in the center of that little trap door that's balancing. We put it right in the center, and the mice can walk onto it and eat it. And what's nice about this type of a mouse trap system, if our cat eats the mouse after it's eaten the baking soda and the cornmeal, the cat won't die from it. It's not like a poison. It's not like the warfarin or the blood thinner mouse poison that's out there. But what it does is, since it's such a small creature, when it eats the baking soda, it upsets its pH balance and it kills it that way. And he's since then, so we're talking end of May, June, July, August. We're the end of August. We've only caught one mouse up there. So we don't know exactly what's causing the ammonia urine smell that's in this room. We don't know if it's bats that got up in the attic or if she kept a puppy in here, because there's a sliding door here. I don't know if she kept a puppy in here and it tinkled on the floor and soaked into the linoleum. But either way, we want to paint with this odor killing primer and see if that helps get rid of the smell. I don't know if you guys have a favorite corner painting brush, but this is my all-time favorite. It fits so nicely in the hand, and the way that they've got the bristles, it makes it easier for me to get into the corners and paint a nice straight line. We need to tape and mud here. We were doing investigating, trying to figure out where the smell was coming from. So Sean cut a lot of this drywall off, and we kept it open, and the smell definitely wasn't coming from inside this wall. We did have a natural gas dryer, and that was the supply line. The natural gas to this property is no longer being used since we had the solar put in. So when the electric was being routed up the wall here so that we could have an electric dryer, we had already pulled out the baseboard. But what I'll do is over here on the right side, I'll just scrape along the paint line first and then pry the baseboard off. Got a little pry bar, got a big pry bar, I've got a putty knife and a smaller putty knife. Excuse the ugly shoes. Turns out the shoes that I wear normally from day to day aren't very supportive for my foot, according to my physical therapist. Just making sure that there's no paint stickiness, and it's not. That's good. Saving this to reuse it because it's wood and there's nothing wrong with it. This room isn't quite 6 foot by 9 foot, so it's a little crowded in here, a little cramped to get in here to work on stuff. There we go, so that way when I paint, I'm not going to get anything on this trim. And let's see what this floor will come up. It must be glued. Ooh, it's old. Oh, it looks like this is the original floor that was in this laundry room, which also means it's the original floor for the bathroom as well, because it's on top of just, it looks like an MDF floor. Huh. Interesting. Close up of what I just pried off. I'm gonna give this a try, see if it works. This is the New Finish Scratch Doctor. And this is what it says. Safe on all paint surfaces, repairs years of damage in just one use. Also used on fiberglass boats, motorcycles, airplanes, and household appliances. Ensures surface is clean. Apply with a clean, soft cloth. Use moderate pressure. Wipe off with the soft cloth. Not intended for use on vinyl, decals, or wood. This is such an old sink, and this is such a dull sanding sponge. Let's give this a try and see if it works. You can see where Sean's used it, so I'm going to try it. It's like this sponge doesn't even really have any grip to it anymore, so I'm using it. So I'm venturing to say this is the original 1970 cultured marble sink in here. I don't think that's dirt. I think that's part of this pattern. All right, shall I rinse it off? It's like a wax coat. See how the water is repelling? Well, if it says it's safe on fiberglass, it's got to be safe on cultured marble, don't you think? I mean, you use it cautiously and the way that you see fit that won't hurt your products. But look at that. We've been here, what, a year and a half? I could have cleaned that off a long time ago. I'm gonna try up by the faucet now. I can't get my tripod short enough for me to get a video of me trying to remove these stains. So I'm gonna do a video, clean it, and then show you afterwards if it was a success. That didn't work very well. It worked good in the sink, but not around the faucets. I think I need to be a little bit more aggressive in how I sand that off. And right now, my foot is without a soft cast, but my foot doctor just called and told me the MRI results, and it turns out I fractured my foot everywhere, like every toe. There's a fracture there. So I just hopped out of the shower and I've got to go back and get another soft cast and wear my walking boot for 3 more weeks and no working on the house or the yard. I just got my 6th soft cast put on. I'm wearing my driving boot, which I can only wear when I'm actually driving, because you can't wear this. So this is a soft cast. So it turns out I fractured the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th metatarsal in here working on the yard. So this is my 6th soft cast, like I said. And what's different this time is I have to treat it like it's a hard cast and not use my foot, or, you know, not do projects around the house and not do projects outside. I have to take it easy on this foot because even my marrow is edematous. My foot's really swollen and sore from all the use. Look, I've even got grass in here from working out in the yard. But I was going to show you how to put one of these on. So this is Velcroed in here. It's got some Velcro back here and here. You can see all the stuff I've been doing out in the yard. I've got all kinds of dust and dirt from working out in the yard. So this sleeve goes in here. And Velcro's in place. Put my foot in, and this is a real rigid boot that keeps your foot from moving like that. It just keeps it stiff. There's Velcro here. Just Velcro it onto there. And this inflates a bladder if I needed it inflated. Oh, I should put this on too, because this is real firm and it hurts my shin when I walk. So it's like about the width of your pinky, nice and squishy. I put it here and it helps protect me from this. Velcro this in place. And then I've got these 3 straps. Take this and tuck it down here. And line this up with that bladder. And I've got these Velcro straps to pull it nice and snug. And like I was saying, I have to treat this soft cast as if it were a hard cast. Because that would be the next choice, putting a hard cast on. But then that would involve crutches and a knee scooter. So I'm going to do my best to try and not to walk on this foot so it can heal. And also my foot doctor said not to take ibuprofen, which, you know, you'd think you should take it because it's an anti-inflammatory, but not to take any kind of NSAIDs or ibuprofen because studies have shown that it interferes with bone healing. So that's it. I would wear that whenever I'm walking.